You've got a destiny, somebody you're supposed to be. Far from the small town, there's answers waiting to be found. So she lies awake, thinking there's been some mistake. Crying her eyes out, begging for help. She's shouting, I want a new brain, I want a new heart. I'm sick of feeling, failing and falling apart.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Rise and Mind.
Rise and mind. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Rise and shine. You know it's time. Space Viking 42 Productions teaming up with CP Sketch and the Dreamers Arcade for
Rise
Coffee and
and
Contemplation
Mind.
podcast. Just
We're going
hey.
back. We're going back to the Coffee and Contemplation podcast.
No, I was just clarifying it for the branding. I started with the Rise and Mind.
Yeah,
that was
Rise
like
and Mind,
the little
Rise and
clarifying tagline. I don't know. It was pretty smooth, I thought.
This is your captain speaking. We're seeing some
geez.
deep thought going on outside to the left side of the aircraft. If you were to look out your window, we're seeing some CP Sketch, some light winds coming from CP Sketch over here on the left side of the aircraft.
Whoa, wait. What? What light winds?
We might be coming into some turbulence here. All right. As your pilot on this wild ride, I promise you that we will not take you too far down the rabbit hole.
I'm trying to fix things.
Hello, Renegade Bundy.
Is this the oil, or
Welcome.
is this the generator oil? Lightning generator, zap. Like, is this the fuel?
That's the generator.
They put a dye in it, right, to make it so it's like you don't drink it. It smells like citrus, though. Is this the oil to fix this window?
Renegade Bundy here in the chat. Good morning.
Oh, Renegade Bundy. Hey, lock and load. We're going duck hunting. The ship's being invaded.
That shit matches your hat. That's amazing.
We got the renegades.
Yes.
We got the renegades. Got the renegades.
Yeah. Oh, there she is.
How you doing? How we doing today? Good morning on this Saturday, 9:17 a.m.
9:17 on Saturday of May 20th, 2023.
Today we're gonna do impersonations. What's your best impersonation?
My best impersonation is disgruntled Soviet Union veteran.
Oh, okay.
Because I spent 6 years manning a bumper boat ride every summer for those 6 years, and there was and we'd get like two people, 2 people every hour coming over to ride them. So the rest of the day, I would just be sitting there like, this fucking guy, this
fucking guy. Sorry, Russia, we're not trying to insult you with our accents. This fucking guy. I think that's pretty good, right? You got that.
This cat will not stay still, so I'm just gonna like carry her like this.
All right. I don't know what I'm the best. What's the best accent? My dad probably. I don't know. Who do I know the most?
Vanadander.
Vanadander.
That was all of my cable ties on my desk. Just served their function. My cat freaked out. I freaked out. I hit the wire. And
that's organization, brother.
And nothing fell apart. And the stream is still running. You know, right? So I didn't actually do a stress test.
Wow, it's very good. That's awfully organized of you. It's good to see.
It's weird, right?
That's a helpful thing when you're all over the place like you and I. Vinger Ingvar Sutherland.
Got Valgard Bjornsson and his trusty robot Ingvar Sentinel.
Ingvar. I love putting that main spin on it. Ingvar.
What's that there? What is an Ingvar, sir?
Ingvar.
I don't do. Oh, Vanagander. Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Fenrir.
Fenrir, yeah. So my brain exploded just now.
Oh wait, one
this
second.
Very moment.
Hey Abso, could you bring in the clothes, the branding on that? With the snake, I wanted to show Space Viking something because it pertained to something that he taught me. He taught me a thing, and then I saw a thing, and I was like, "Oh, that's a thing," and I knew it, and I was just gonna share that with you while you figured out what you were saying. What were you saying?
Well, we are going to be going into breaking ground.
Break. That was weird.
Break.
That wasn't a very good
break.
flash. Oh, that's cool.
Breaking ground.
We gotta animate the shovel. That'd be cool if we could animate that shovel
just
and
coming
to where
in.
it comes in and slams down, and it creates like a kind of line through those cracks, like that travels down. That's obtainable, right? Okay,
it is.
So,
it is obtainable.
Is that over ambitious or
no?
Okay. So this is stuff that you order online, the shape stuff, and I saw it's a shaping garment, and this is their brand. I'll show you in the camera here. Might take you a second for it to come in real time, but I was like, oh, I get it. I understand what that is.
Shapeland?
I think with the logo. See what the logo is?
Apelin.
Yeah, it's really confusing on the ADHD brain. I look at
this one
that more than anything. I'm like,
let's see if I can. No, that's my chat window.
Shape LLX.
Let's see if I can make you bigger so everyone else can see. I can barely see it. It is like some butts there.
Let's get in a little closer then.
Yeah. Shape-LX. Oh, and it's a snake.
And like a butt.
Is it supposed to be a butt?
Yeah, because it's shapewear, so it's a butt. But that's also a snake, right?
Right. So and I've started we're getting into it.
Oh yeah. But that snake, remember you were telling me about Lilith?
Oh yeah. The
being in the yeah, that's what that is, because it's supposed to be sexy. They're branding with Lilith. That's why it turns into a snake.
Yeah.
And I was like, I get the logo now. I get the intention behind it. And I was like, that's because you taught me about Lilith, and I looked that stuff up. But this is the shapewear. It looks ridiculous. It's like, it looks like something for a child, and you put this on as a grown. I mean, this isn't mine. It'd be crazy if I put this on. Ouch. But it's a shape outfit, and then it helps the women with their posture, so to speak.
Go to your bed.
Ass cheeks. Yeah, see, Renegade. Got it. Hey, Inky, what's up? Welcome to the party. You got anything to say? What you chatting about? Oh, that's a different show. 29 minutes in. Okay, we've entered our first minute. We broke the ground. We talked about the logo. We showed the shapewear. So what are we diving into today, partner?
So, what is the last instance where you found some profound beauty in something incredibly dark, frightening, or gruesome?
Oh man, that could be minutes ago, literally. I mean, this is it's constant. So, I mean, I was having a conversation with my friend, and I sent her a picture, and there was like a dandelions going through like concrete cracks in a city, and it was kind of dingy and broken down.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, look, here's you. And it had like a hole in the ground. She was like, I'm a hole in the ground? I was like, no, you're down there. Every once in a while, like, you kind of poke your head up, but you're forcing flowers to clean this shithole up. And, I know a lot of people see them as just weeds, but I think it's a better result. And it's just that idea about talking about, like, artists and artists not wanting to put themselves out there, and the anxiety that artists have with marketing and like imposter syndrome and failure and stuff. So like it was this metaphor of like breaking out and fully entering the world. And yeah, so it's kind of dark too because it's entropy. It's like potholes and things falling apart, and the buildings were in disrepair. And as someone who repairs things, it's sad. So what happened to me over like the weekend, over the week, is I brought the sturgeon sculptures back into the city. It's part of a public art project that I'm behind, and it was a little dark, but I found beauty in the end of it because I found this dying art culture. I saw the death of art in an area, but then I see the potential for realignment and getting involved in something, and having some growth, like kind of just seizing that moment. Yeah, so it's dark because I saw like, there's just not a lot of staffing, and a lot of the work falls down onto, me as a volunteer. My mural I designed in the city needs to be touched up, but the retaining wall is in disrepair, and it's hard to get the city to fix that. So I've talked to you actually about coming up. It's not, unfortunately, like it's starting to get to the end of its life cycle too, because it's down on a lower street, and they're going to build a giant pier that goes out into the river, and it's going to be nice, but the mural would then be under it. But it's a retaining wall, so in hindsight, it was a kind of a learning mistake. Learning lesson, painting on a retaining wall. It wasn't my decision. I didn't know a lot about mural painting in cities, and they had already primed this wall with concrete paint, but it's a retaining wall. Water pushes through it. So it pushes through every year and just blows sections of the paint apart. And you just have to go in there and like dab it on, but it's starting to get a texture,
Yeah.
And it's sad to see that in an area, in addition to all the art centers, even if they were craft, like paint night kind of things, like where the motivation behind it was for commodity a lot and money and novelty. And I don't necessarily like to see that in art either, but I'd appreciate any form of art. And there was a place for the special needs in the city to go and do art therapy, and it was quite sad. Oh, there you go. So there's the mural, and it's on a retaining wall. And I invited Space Viking and some other art colleagues, some school alumni, because it might be like the end of an era. I have actual physical like canvas paintings of that, and it was like projected out the black line on a wall, and we had the community come in and paint. Yeah. Hey, there he is. There's the man himself. Paint by number style this mural, and but you see the retaining wall, it actually fell down above it. What's above it?
I see that
on that far end, it's starting to fall down.
That's such an interesting thing to me. Like something that's so important to be holding back soil. Why did they go with wood? Like, why would you ever use wood if you want it to last?
Yeah, they put like a garden in there, but if you look at it right, the only way in there, there's a gate in front of it, and I think someone has access to the gate, but you'd have to climb over it, so you can't get in there. And they planted like big plants. They planted giant plants, and the plants grew through the raised bed, like you said, made out of wood, and it pushed them all out. And it's like that whole sign that's above it that you really can't see. It's like this metal sign is hanging down over it now. It's like it's bonkers. So unfortunately,
I'm excited to work on that with you.
Yeah, and it'll be the farewell to it. And I'm gonna move and do a different mural in a different spot. But yeah, take pictures, man. It's these things, unfortunately, they're not permanent. A lot of the public art. If They're a maintenance hassle.
And you were talking about the sturgeons. Here's the sturgeons there. Those are cool.
Oh yeah, that was so those were 3 in the back that we had the high school borrow. They were going to be put in storage, so I was like, we could put them anywhere. Could we put them in a gallery? Could we do anything? So the high school art program wanted to borrow those 3, and they made like a diorama, like a fish tank outside of the library, kind of that they had them in, and then they had the kids make like little paper sturgeons and stuff. So that was really cool. And then a funny story: that front sturgeon was actually that real beautiful one, the black and white, was it was stolen. That was the stolen one that the downtown director and I we did our Batman and Robin thing in conjunction with a diner and in some information from a landlord. Yeah, we found that in an apartment in a bag, trash bag, and we got it back. It's back on the street. Back
Nice.
on the street.
In an apartment,
So yeah, they're back
in
out
a
there.
trash
There's
bag.
26 total. What's that?
In an apartment in a trash bag.
Oh yeah, they were trying to they stole it and they tried to sell it. They tried to steal a couple of them, but this year they're under more security, and so if anyone local's listening, they're under much more security, more reinforced lock system, and it's a felony offense because that's theft over 5,000, buddy. That's a public art.
I'm also opening this question up to the chat. This is also part of why this is a live recording of this podcast. Any instance where you found beauty within the darkness? It's something that I've come to sort of be part of my like actual full lifestyle. But also in the last couple weeks, I have had to sort of go double down on it in order to stay sane, you know. And it's helped me immensely to be like, you know what, this is actually all everything's amazing. I don't know why I'm trying to paint everything in such a bad light just because a bad thing's happening to me, you know?
Yeah, and I think that you only get so much, right? In all my life, I've had moments where it's more good than bad and bad than good, and I'd say that's fair. Like we get hit with a lot of stuff, and some people's lives just are unfortunate based on where they're at and where they start, even. So yeah, I feel like there's a lot of gloom and doom for a while, and then it switches, and then it's good for a while, or things are just kind of boring. I don't know what I'd prefer.
So what I usually like to, I've said this a few times on the show, but I want to sort of, this fits in with this very well, that happiness is an extreme, just like anger and sadness is an extreme.
Yeah.
Like if you're happy all the time, there's actually something wrong, because then you're missing in very important details about your world and life. Like there's something very important about recognizing what is wrong and what is bad, not necessarily dwelling on it. You don't want to dwell in the darkness. But,
yeah, using it as a tool.
But if you
understanding it fully.
Yeah. It's
beneficial.
If you blindly ignore it, what happens if you blindly ignore all the things that are wrong in your world?
It's a manifestation of the gloom.
Yeah.
It's gloom, i.e., accumulation. So anytime you let things fester and stack up, it can become problematic. So both physically and mentally.
Yeah, the stacks.
Yes.
Well, so I want to talk to you a little bit about your Dreamers Arcade, because that's actually part of why I wanted to use this subject, because the gloom.
All right.
Is there?
We got an interview time.
Like, is there an aspect to the gloom that is good? Is there something in it that can be used for the power of good, or even I'm having trouble with the wording, but like as bad as it is there an argument for it to continue doing what it's doing?
Yeah, because there's multiple sides that look at it, because since people have prescribed to certain ideologies or kind of fit within Carl Jung's archetypes, you know, that if you had a certain person in a certain situation or group of people working together, it might result in this specific outcome that's wildly different than the guy down the road, right? So if you're trying to survive, you know, and there's this aspect of object culture that's detrimental, and you can't conceptually understand that there's a cerebral component to where you can control it, and you're more of a physical person, you might see the gloom as objects, tools, and it becomes a harvested material that is utilized to either fight other things, other factions, or just used to kind of work against natural forces. So it all depends on what you're in for, right? Whatever you are invested in, and however you think of material culture, however you think of your relationship to nature, because those are the dominant forces that are split into many other forces to create a balance that can be kind of tweaked and regulated, because there's something that is happening because humans co-opted too much of nature, and there's been a lot of ways that process was slowed down, but at the end it's inevitable. And balance, regulation, it's like, how do you, when things happen, AI came out, it's like people all of a sudden being like, oh, I don't want AI anymore, let's backpedal. When you hit certain benchmarks in life where you're just on level 2 now, or you're just on level 3, you're never going to go back to level 2. You can think about level 2, and you can use advice from level 2 and be like, fuck, I wish I knew in level 1 what level 3 was talking about. But you know what I'm saying?
100%.
But that's unfortunate. You can't ask that. You can't say like, let's as much as I'm putting moratoriums left and right, you know, on sand pits right now, because fucking out of town for coming into my neighborhood. CP represents, but that's different. That's public health and safety, and that's what I care about. Moratorium. Elon Musk was all moratorium on the AI. It's not going to happen.
Moratorium.
Because everybody has it. Moratorium would just shut down something for 6 months so that you can take a better evaluation of what's happening.
Thank you for explaining. There may be people out there that don't.
Well, I just recently learned what it is. Yeah, I'm not gonna. That politics shit sucks, man. Like moratorium. It's like I thought it was like a fucking Tim Burton movie, and I pictured Lars Ulrich in the background with the drums and James Hetfield. Moratorium. You know, leave me be. I don't know why I went kind of like Russian. That was probably from you earlier with that. I still don't know what my impersonation is. I do lots of them. What's my best impersonation? Which one do you like?
What is your best impersonation? Well, before we get into that, I want to touch on what Renegade Bundy said.
Hey, watched your show, Married with Children, last night. It was good, man. Hadn't been years, Bundy.
Oh, Bundy. I was like, for a second there, I'm just like, is this, I swear to God, CPU. I was like, this is not even close to what we're talking about.
Marriage. Go together like a horse and carriage. Okay.
So
let's do this.
This concept that Renegade Bundy posed is actually one of the oldest concepts in philosophy.
Oh, I didn't read anything you put, Renegade Bundy.
Oh my God.
I'm so caught up in my own voice. He was asking me about my story, and I just went on and got lost in my thoughts.
Yeah, so you should see an old picture of my father took of many years ago of a broken, decrepit small boat on the bank side of a lake. Yep, that's Entropy. Trent, our good friend Trent. I'm
boy
gonna
Trent.
I'm gonna adopt that if you don't mind.
Dude, it's so fun.
I've got my good friend Trent right there. Just decay, death and decay everywhere.
I'm telling you, the Dreamers Arcade is gonna be fun as hell because I'm like, how do I make this interesting? How do I do this? I have ADHD. I have to make it fun enough for me. So how it's gold, dude. It's gonna be fun. Trent, the top agent for the Entropy Agency. Trenton, my man. You know why they had to hire him?
Why?
He's a deterrence. He is a deterrence from humans making objects. Because this is, I don't know how, I know some ways because I study it, how this becomes this when it's the ground and the rocks. Like, can you imagine, dude? Viking, can you imagine? Like, this stuff is the trees and the polymers and the rocks.
So there was an entire era where the trees, there were no bugs to eat the trees. Like there were no insects that could break down the enzymes of tree bark. So there's an entire layer.
Cat Stevens wrote about that, right?
Yeah, well, there's an entire layer of fossils. That's just Cat Stevens.
Layer of fossils, the trees and bugs alive.
Those trees, there's an entire layer of trees that didn't get broken down, so they just fossilized. There's an entire layer of rock underneath you that is like these massive trees, and it's in essence petrified wood. That's where entropy gets kind of interesting too, where if there isn't anything to decay the thing, it tends to persevere. But the longer that life exists, the more evolution that's allowed to happen, the more entropy there is for life. But then there's the wind erosion and there's the water erosion. So like even those trees someday will get broken down, even though they're going on like 200 million years or something like that. I don't know the exact timing. So
the wind, I'm trying to figure out the wind.
Trying to find the oldest known quote about the darkness and the light that Renegade Bundy. I know it's an incredibly old quote. It's one of the first philosophies where there cannot be darkness, there cannot be light without the darkness, and vice versa.
Did you know there's different light and dark? There's two versions.
But you want to know a fun scientific spin on this? Can I blow your mind right now? No, I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna do that fucking podcast shit.
Blow your mind right now. Hold on a second, brother. I'm a fucking douchebag.
People don't realize. No,
we're real people.
People don't realize.
We're gonna be real people hanging out in your house.
So,
boring the fuck out of you, but thinking you want something more.
When you shut off all the lights in your house, right? Oh, thank you.
I never do.
Thank you, Renegade Bundy. We'll wait.
I never do.
We'll wait till after the ad. I'll get into this until after the ad.
Oh, where is the ad?
He said
usually, maybe someone gave me a sub.
Oh, Renegade. Thank you so much for that subscription. I appreciate you. Renegade subscribed.
Oh, they fucking go. Got that out of there.
My alerts are working again. Yay! Renegade Bundy just subscribed.
Thank you. Ingvar Sentinel. Ingvar
Sentinel is the
Ingvar Sentinel.
The for lack of a better word, our robotic friend. Yeah, fuck those ads. Renegade, I thank you for subbing. Thank you for supporting the channel.
All right, I'll do a special shout out. It's freestyle rap.
It's clicking a button.
Renegade Bundy. It ain't Sunday. Saturday.
CP.
9:43 a.m. EST.
CP.
Space Viking 42 and CP.
I'm gonna ask you to take a deep breath.
Yeah.
And then I want you to do the rap one more time.
Oh, you want to record it? I wasn't really ready.
It's being recorded, but I want to. It's almost Sunday. Oh, yeah, Renegade Bundy's in the other hemisphere.
Oh yeah, that's right. Renegade Bundy Sunday. Sunday, 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 Renegade, 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 Renegade Bundy.
16 minutes to Sunday.
Oh yeah, that's my lucky number, dude.
Yep.
I was born 7/16. 16 minutes to Sunday.
All right.
Hanging around with Renegade. Oh wait, you're probably from the UK, right? So we do that grime. Oh yeah, Renegade Bundy. 16 minutes to Sunday. Sunday. Yeah, Sunday. Get my boots on.
No,
Get my boots on.
do not.
Ready?
Oh my God.
Come on, it's like that grime shit, man. Whoop, 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 whoop. Look at that little beat coming in, a little thing. Coming up.
He,
Wait, bribe.
he's
Wait, bribe, what you guys coming up in my flat? You know, like that shit, you know?
That's
You know what it is.
That actually is a pretty good
you're an Aussie,
impression
mate?
of the rap.
Dude, I don't know any Australian rappers. Do you guys don't rap out there, do you? Do you guys have a rapper?
Is it called rap?
MC Crocodile Dundee.
The White Walkers.
MC Dundee.
That's funny.
Huh?
So can
Yeah,
I say
man.
can I say the scientific thing now?
Yeah, go for it.
You weren't interrupting me. I just wanted to like segue into it, but couldn't think of a good segue.
Late 2000. Yeah,
So
right.
when you're-
right before the good
This-
times.
This is for
And
the chat
bad
too. So
times.
if you shut off every light in your house and manage to make it
Yeah,
complete,
that's where the dark is, brother.
completely pitch black, right? Make it as dark as possible. And there's like, say you were to get it to 100% darkness, like 0% light. The craziest thing about darkness is you removed the color too. Color cannot exist without light to reflect it into our eyes. Color doesn't exist in the darkness. There is like, if you could actually look in, that's why a lot of night vision has to put it in a certain spectrum that only has one color. We have infrared, makes it red. We have the green. Night vision, I'm not sure. I can't
Predator
remember.
vision.
Predator vision is thermal.
Yep. Thermal. Yep. Couldn't even think of it. I just call it predator vision. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And light is all color combined. And if you're up really late and you're lying on the floor and you're staring at the ceiling, wanting a little more, and you start to see the colors pulling
Agent
apart.
Giggles.
Has anyone ever seen that? Agent Giggles? Have you seen? Have you looked at the light long enough? Have you stared at the sun for enough hours to see that color starting to radiate, that yellow or that blue or that green, that sphere? Don't look at the sun, CP.
That's like when you stare at the sun for a little bit and then you look away and then you see a purple dot everywhere.
Oh, yeah, or the green, the purple green. You see a couple of them. What's that about, huh? That's the color.
That's a literal burning of your retina that you can see.
And why those colors? Because they're usually cool colors and they're further away. If you burn that, because like if you look at that stuff, you'll see like yellow and red. That's really frying your shit. That's in there. And then when you turn away, you see blue because colors are recessive. Your eyes grab them as a wavelength. And
Have a good time at work, Agent Giggles.
Yay, have fun.
So the concept is much simpler than you're making it, CP. I'm not trying to poo-poo what you're saying because those are really interesting things that our eyes do.
What are you talking about?
But literally, when there's no light, when there's no light at all.
Oh no, I understand that concept.
Oh, okay. So I'm not trying to say you don't understand, but
yeah, and light is the additive property of
color.
All color is harnessed in that. So you can, I was kind of joking around about it, but you can see. Those are examples of how you can see like the separation of those lights, like either burn or staring tired.
Oh, right, yeah. So yeah, that's also the idea that. Oh, I see where you were going with that. All right, sorry.
Then wavelength, right?
Yeah.
So wavelength is you're seeing the blue because the burn's already happened, and the wavelength stretches out longer. So when you paint say you're going to paint a landscape, you're going to put the blue in the background because you see blue further away. And those yellows, those warmer colors, the yellows, oranges, they fade off. Then it gets into green. And then you see the just blue. And that's how the wavelengths, the lengths of them that your eye can see, receive into what the cones.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly that biological science of it, but that gets into moving out of the biological realm. There's another side. There's a different side of color that separates it into what I would consider. These are my philosophies of my story in the Dreamers Arcade, and just things I apply. That it's quartered. I think first human was 4. The archetype macro is 4 people in the 4 humors in Greek writing, and all the way through up into contemporary culture like Ninja Turtles. So there's this quartering, this 4 that seems to be predominant. I like looking for patterns and stuff, but then I start thinking about what we're talking about is there's a couple different cultures. You have nature, biology, right? What we're talking about, light, and then the other side of that is manufactured things, fabricated things for nature that are used to fuel economical stability, the concept of money primarily, that is essential to trading goods. So because of this stuff, we have fabricated nature, and the idea of paint.
You can put that in the courtyard.
The pigment and paint is a simulated version of what nature really is. It's a way to reproduce nature, to commodify it, even though it exists in nature, and it's in opposition, the nature of humanity in that world, and they don't exist in the same way. So the pigments, the gloom, and the light is nature in that respect, broken into 4 quadrants. And so, like, in that respect, black pigment and black ink is, how do you make this? How do you make black ink in a computer?
In a computer?
Yeah, if you were to print CMYK shit, what's black?
A good question.
What's white? White is the paper. Black is all the ink.
Yeah.
It's opposite to nature. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's why your RGB and CMYK don't communicate well. You have to change it to a CMYK setting to print it out properly.
So if you break that into quadrants, right, the 4 pieces, and if you say the first man wasn't just Adam and Eve, and there was the Lilith character, this opposition, this separation of woman. Like, what if there was a 4 quadrant deal there that corresponds with the 4 humor archetypes of, like, the Ninja Turtles and the Fantastic Four, and then what if that was built into the material natural world that we live in? We have stuff that we fabricate for society, for human purposes, at a detriment to nature, possibly ourselves, for gain and profit, that is the exact opposite structurally than nature itself. So nature, light is all color. The gloom, black is all color. Black's all color, and then black's the absence in nature. They're balanced opposites with 2 polars. So altogether, what was that? They make a god. I think that was my equation. Like I was trying to figure out God. I was trying to figure out my hierarchy. Human beings were gods broken into 4. So that's why we're fucked and incomplete and always like weird with each other and have relationships and built this whole thing separate from nature itself. Because we're trying to find a way to reconnect our quarters. And when you put in arcade machines, motherfucking quarters. That's the Dreamers Arcade. Some of the philosophy behind it. You might want to watch that a couple times, you dumb shits. No, I'm just fucking around.
That's
It's
a pretty
just
good
fun,
segue.
weird, half-cocked stuff. It's taken a lot of time. It isn't just like something I was like, I woke up or I got stoned Friday and came up with this really great idea. It's something that has been applicable to my art, video game interests, my education, my friendships, my family, everything. It's all coming together.
Oh, hello. Good morning, Nika.
Right now, Nika Fernandez. Hello.
You want the textbook definition between the difference between chaos and order, Bundy? Because like the darkness and the light, chaos and order. So the interesting thing about that is that we can't really measure anything without the electromagnetic spectrum, which includes photonic wavelength. We can only see visible light. But this is taking it to a scientific standpoint instead of a philosophical standpoint. Technically, the difference between chaos and order is matter. Like when energy turns into matter, that's order. Chaos is when matter becomes energy. But it's not actually chaotic.
Organization is my answer. It's kind of easy answer, but it really is.
Organization equals order. Well, that's from an ADHD standpoint. Like, yeah.
Organization and discipline. Like
the only time
emotionless almost.
The only time the universe was pure order was at about 200 million years after the Big Bang, where there was nothing. What Renegade Bundy's saying, in my opinion, I should say that the absolute order was at that time, when everything was cold. There was no matter. It was just hydrogen floating around.
What are we talking about? Earth?
Well, we're talking about the difference between chaos and order.
No, I mean Earth, though.
Oh,
we're talking about the history of the Earth, though, as far as defining chaos and order, which is an Earth concept designed by Earth people.
If you want to go by the history of Earth, then we've never been in a state of order. We want to talk about entropy. Entropy is what creates even more chaos. The transferring of energy in different states.
It makes you care. Entropy. That's the problem. It limits you. It's a regulative property.
Yeah.
And in the ideological way that I saw Trent's coming into the nature offices, is they run kind of like these agencies. It's not a new concept, but it's a fun concept. I like to make things contemporary and working class people like myself and the people that it represents a lot in the writing do have to go through a lot of agency buildings, throughout their life for different reasons. And it's formal and a pain in the ass, and it's never clear, especially when you're just trying to figure it all out and times are changing. So the idea of just running these boring agencies cracks me up. But Trent is kind of this the bad boy of the whole thing that I like to picture. And he has to come in as just part of this plan, because if human beings could make everything and it didn't ever rot, if it didn't break down, if it wasn't fragile, if it wasn't impacted by other pieces of material, if it wasn't, in the nature, I'm trying to figure out how nature impacts it, because nature works with it and impacts it, but they're all in the same office, so they're working towards the same goal. So I could see how there'd be Zoom meeting collaborations between, Trent and, some of the other representatives, where it's
meetings.
Okay, we you have to kind of bump up nature this week because Trent wasn't in the office. And so they have to implement the wind. And the wind sucks, right? Because here's a good story. You guys want a story? We're at story time.
Is it story
Yesterday I was tired from the end of a long week, and I was grumpy, and I drove into a gas station, and I was out in the world, and the world can have a lot of gloom, and I just go, man, you know what? You know, it's a good line. Nobody's ever happy in a gas station, you know, like, or, you know, I always drive around. I just see people like these faces. They look like they're shitting their pants and like chewing the wind or something. I don't know. It just looks bizarre. And then I had this parking incident with this guy who was like trying to back into me, but I scared him because I'm like, I don't think about things anymore. I'm going to get gas. I'm like, oh, whatever, dude. And he just drove away. so I'm just doing my thing. And then all of a sudden I hear, oh, no freaking way. What? Oh, friggin'. Like really mad and disgusted, but like actually saying friggin' and freaking, which was interesting, but violently mad. Like he was saying other like fucking. But so he had a bunch of pizza and stuff, and the wind was whipping, and it came up and it just wrecked all his shit out of his hands. And you know, pizza, I mean, of all things too, doing the pizza, gas station pizza, and I think it was a Circle K. I mean, that's probably part of the problem. You know, I have a lot of things to say about Circle K pizza, but we're not going to get into that today because that's post-traumatic stress on my part. So I saw that, guys, mad. Nobody's happy at the gas station.
Nobody.
Then I drove off. I go, nobody has a good time at the gas station. But see, that was an example of the wind. Like when you have too much stuff in your hands, right? When you're overburdened, if you have more than you can carry, and the wind comes up, blow it all down and wreck it. I'm going to wreck it. But then see, the wind's working to keep this stuff to degrade through entropy to go back into the world. Because too much co-option of the natural material, they don't know exactly what will happen because they've never had to experience it, but they're seeing biological anomalies happen, and they're creating contingency plans and slowing. They know it's inevitable, that something's going to happen that they can't understand, but they're working on it, and they're trying to understand it. So Trent comes in as a guy to slow things down. If they're going to have houses, make the wood rot. If this gets near the water, it's gone. What about fire? You got a guy who works on fire? Like getting all these things. Okay, we're out. Get the wind involved. Wind and fire weekend? All right, that's going to knock out a lot of problems. So they have these systems that they can implement to put into play to regulate the flow of how slow our development of stuff comes from, because we're producing, populating, and manufacturing at a faster and faster rate. So the disasters start to happen more exponentially and more and more and more until the event happens. And then now they're trying to figure it out. Trent disappeared. You know, they've got someone filling in the nature office who's kind of an imposter because everybody ditched the place. And then you pop down and we take a fucking cruise into space. Yeah. Space Viking 42. Oh, sorry, the Pump Son is a major player in the Dreamers Arcade. He is like top build.
But here we go.
The Space Viking 42, my dude, he is top build. You're gonna see this guy flying a spaceship with his mind.
How did you find peace within that chaos, though?
Who?
In like no one's happy at the gas station. How did you make peace with that?
I existed the reality. I existed. I accepted the reality. I accepted the reality that this is a story that I believe in, and I'm going to write it right now. And would you co-write it with me right now, Nature? And let's see it like it's a movie or a show that I'm in, experience it, and then next scene, next chapter, What did I learn from it? Was it fair or valuable? Did I make anything better or pretty? That's it. That's the code. That's the CP code. Make better, make pretty. What did I learn? Is it worth thinking about again? Like there's certain, I have a criteria now that it's all based around, and then I established the efficiency of the agencies, and now the more there are rules, so in your life as an artist and a writer, and you're creative, and it's hard to be both creative and both like out there working as a salesman.
True.
And we're all kind of finding this, but this is, I think, kind of a way to clarify the path for what you want to do creatively.
That's where a lot of the darkness comes in. So we're gonna take a quick break before we discuss that further. I'm gonna run a quick.
Oh, dude, do you have a boner?
What?
Oh, sorry, I was talking to the cat.
I thought your cats were fixed.
I know that blew his fucking mind, dude. Hey, did you know cats could still get aroused even after being fixed? Pizza Cat used to, but he was a champion, legend.
Oh, hello.
Right back. We were right back. Here we are.
Going into the deep dive.
The deep dive. Hey, you know what I was thinking earlier?
A dive.
Here's a deep dive.
You're a deep dive.
I wonder if you could take the end of this and convert it into USB, and then make this like a MIDI controller to a speaker. So when you click this, it makes crazy sounds.
You could probably easily do that.
I bet there's nerds. I have like 6 zappers, dude. We could fucking mod a bunch out. That'd be a thing, dude. That's a product to sell. All right, well, we're diving into the deepness of entropy, right? It's a big word. A lot of people are like, whoa, that's an intimidating word. It just means decay.
Oh, man. Entropy.
The breaking down of the natural world, right?
Let's make peace with it. This is the other part of the subject I did want to touch on.
Yeah, the beautiful part.
So everything that happens, you know, when people say everything happens for a reason, you know how a lot of people say that.
Yeah, my mom does. That's my mom's vibe.
I actually hate that phrase, but
yeah, I think it's a little dismissive.
But when you break it down in a scientific way, it actually starts to make a little sense. No matter what happens, everything is going towards a state of entropy. Matter naturally wants to balance out. So when someone dies and you're very sad about that death, right? Just know that the energy that was them is going right back into the universe to balance out everything. That's the reason. If everything happens for a reason, entropy is always the reason.
Things are always being born and seeding and growing and restarting. It's a perfect.
I just did
as an artist.
I
think it's a perfect design.
1 second. I just got to correct myself. I hate absolutes, and I just said always. Entropy. Well, entropy probably isn't always the reason because nothing is absolute.
Well, I made my own fake reason why entropy exists. So there you go.
Can you repeat that for me?
Oh, what that Trent? You know, like he's an agent. Like, you know, I've put my own spin on what entropy means.
Does he wear a suit?
No, he's cool. Like, so I wanna do a shout out to an artist. This is some background stuff that people can learn here. I mean, you guys might be on the cutting room floor, or the cutting edge floor, I should say. So there's an artist. His name is Trenton Doyle.
Actual guy.
Hancock. Trenton Doyle Hancock. He's African American, Texas based. I think Houston, Texas. Maybe I'm not sure exactly. Artist that I think might have gone to grad school with the professor who taught me, and he introduced me to his work. I have never connected more with a contemporary painter's work than probably what he does. And he raised the line between object and 2D art culture. It's amazing, and you see what he does is very informative. And there are some things that I think early on he did a narrative, and it has to do with these things called mounds. And Mounds became a creature because he was in his studio and he'd collect things, and you collect refuse and you collect scraps and materials and pieces of old paintings and flooring, because he'd implement a lot of stuff that would make him feel a certain way. And it became a stack, like an accumulation. And so like that's when I started to figure out like what gloom is, what is a negative aspect that makes you feel confined and keeps you away from the true nature of yourself. And it's anything that's accumulative, that stacks on you, that weighs you down, that keeps you away from that. It builds a wall between you and what you love, or blindsides you from what you really need to be seeing because there's a big stack of shit in your way, or there's an obligation to it, or an obligation to an ideal of I am a failure if I don't have a McMansion and a wife or husband, 2 kids. Like there are people still like caught up in that expectation that that's the only way to represent success. And it's blindsiding, fueled by commerce and material culture, detrimental to the earth itself. And for someone who's an artist, it's not conducive to the type of lifestyle, because it's not nature, it's CMYK, dude. See what I'm saying? It's the opposite. It's the other quadrant. It's the stack of all the shit that is derivative from nature, but been co-opted and changed to take its true nature away and stopping us from seeing the storms when they roll in like animals.
Yeah.
Because we're becoming more disconnected from it. And so that's some of the way that I write it and think about it within my world. But entropy, yeah, I mean, I didn't even understand. I could not understand that fucking word for the longest time. Like it just seems like, yeah, it just seems like a word that doesn't exist.
Does not compute.
What is entropy? And I just wish people had just stopped saying entropy and just said like, it's when shit's breaking down, dude. This guy just made this spiral out in the ocean with the intention that he knows nature's going to take it. And the process of watching it being taken is part of the performance of the art, aka the process of entropy. And I was like, what the fuck does that mean? Like sometimes these concepts just don't gel in your programming, especially when you're distracted with like the American dream. You got the Australian dream out there, Renegade. The Australian dream. That was, I wasn't trying to do an accent. That was something like George Jones or something. Australian dream.
No, Inky.
No, Inky. He's all caught up in his beautiful cat.
Fighting me. I'm listening. The entropy does have that aspect to it, though.
Well, you failed. Hey, the Dreamers Arcade is alive and well.
Like,
Dream, play, create, baby.
Who failed? What, the American? The American dream?
I'm not living the American dream. America's dream was the American nightmare, and it co-opted my dream, and my dream is now bigger than that. And when Dreamer's nightmare happens, that means the gloom's probably co-opted my dream. But until then, Dreamer's nightmare.
Oh, the Aussie accent. Yeah, I failed. I'm not good at accents either.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I because you want to like I like don't want. It's like you want to be cool about it. You don't want to be like good. You come up with a good day or something like that.
Whenever I play with I'm not sure what part of Britain he's from, but whenever I play with my friend Buttery Smooth, I have to fight the urge not to go into the accent because I don't want to mock him, you know. And it's not from mockery point. There's something about my brain that wants to join in on the way people are speaking in the conversation.
Well, you're ADHD. Well, yeah, that's very normal.
No, that's a personal personality trait of mine. That's something that I cultivated because I humored it.
Really? I thought everybody did that, like with the mimicking, miming, self-please, the people pleaser kind of.
The mirroring is actually a very human thing. It's not. Well, it could be exacerbated by ADHD, but it's something everybody does. Like watch people in a conversation and watch what their bodies do. They will, like, oftentimes if someone crosses their arms, suddenly everyone's crossing their arms.
Yeah, fair enough. It's the standard interpersonal communications kind of vibe. And culturally, we don't know like the ways to kind of like hold our hands sometimes with each other and stuff, you know? I get that.
It's similar to what Amanda Call said. Like, some things like you see might be part of your neurodivergence, but some things might be just weird. A weird thing that humans do, you know?
Oh yeah, because there's just like definite normal things.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like the idea of like pathologizing it because I don't understand it really in its entirety. I just thought like that's a checkbox, right? Like a thing that was like very common, an indicator, more so because like it isn't like there's one thing when like people are emoting with each other, it's very boring and very nuanced and subtle when I see just people do it as just regular people. When I see ADHD people get together, it's fucking extreme ends of it.
Yeah.
It's either they want none of it at all, or they just like are like completely the fucking dopamine rushing off of each other. Like, yeah, let's do this. Yeah, fucking spiraling into like super excitedness because it's like the speed rhythms match up differently. That's just what I thought.
That's one of the things that once I started noticing it more, I couldn't unsee it, and I actually wish I didn't know about mirroring because now I see it and I'll feel myself, I'll feel my body being like, you want to put your body in the same position as this person you're talking to, and I'll be like, oh, but now I don't want to do it because that's just a thing that my body wants, and I didn't actually make that happen. I didn't like desire that.
Yeah, I look at it like this: just write yourself a good movie. Pretend it's like a scene, you know.
Well, it kind of is a scene, though.
If you mirror someone, that's not very interesting, right? You gotta maybe if you mirror them, you gotta step it up a bit and keep the scene interesting. That's the way I started. I think looking at that idea is like, you know, you don't want all your shit in your house to match, despite like the fact that we were painting our houses gray and shit for years. Now it's like get a little pop of color here every once in a while and make things interesting.
Yeah, Renegade, I have to fight the urge. Renegade says, I'm surprised you didn't attempt to copy my accent. It's at times I hear an accent I like and I'll try to replicate it. So, Renegade goes through that too. So, like, I have to fight it because I've been raised, this was something that was from my parents. They told me that if you copy someone while they're talking, that's mockery. So I don't want to seem like I'm mocking someone. So I fight that urge. It's a pretty difficult battle too because accents are fun, but if I do it wrong or in a certain way, it might come off as mockery, and I don't want to be rude to anybody. That's like my main rule. Don't be rude.
Yeah, I get that way. Like hanging out with a game with a lot of people from England, and I'm starting to get used to the different accent nuances and stuff, and you get excited about like wanting to figure it out or try it. And Kirby's voice, you know, it's like such an amalgamation of all these different areas, and I just got so used to like gaming with him, I would just tonally replicate him a lot.
Yeah.
And we try not to fuck with him like that a lot. But even I found a lot of it was me wanting to connect with him in the larger group's vibe, the energy. And I think the desire to want to replicate the accent is to want to try to facilitate that. But now I think I facilitate it in an American way, but their energy, and they do the same thing where it's like there's certain terms and like and rhythms throughout the night, like switch the kettle on, like, you know, that becomes a thing, like where it's just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna switch the kettle on, like, because people are just doing it, and they're making tea, you're making tea, like there's easy ways to adopt like little pieces of the culture to kind of be on the same rhythm for the night without being like, oh yeah, switch the kettle on, you know, like fucking trying to do their voice. You can just be like, yeah, I'll be back, switch the kettle on. But it's like, it's the same rhythm, it's just American, you know, or quicker, and or I say words that they say now, you know, and they say words that I say now. We don't pronounce words like sometimes I do, like inventory. I say inventory sometimes. It's a wild way to say it, but Kirby got me saying it. It's all how the vibe feels. And if I'm hanging around with a bunch of people who's speaking with it, I might just be like, the inventory up there, you know, like
there are a few phrases that I sort of like. They're just better.
Yeah, in it.
Because a lot of American phrases are just bastardized slang. I'm like, I don't like that. I'd rather use this term I heard from. I don't have an example right now because my brain's a little fried, but I'd rather use terms from like overseas.
What are you doing there, Tommy Chong?
I'm not doing your break. I'm not doing anything. On my break, I put my hair up and did some push-ups because my brain's not activating.
Oh, sorry, man.
But here's the thing: we're in the weeds. Lost in the weeds.
Yeah, a little bit.
We're lost in the weeds.
We're still in the deep dive. We're halfway through the segment. Let's come back in with some entropy. What do you have to say about entropy?
CP, you keep saying entropy.
Entropy.
It's entropy. Entropy. Yeah.
Entropy.
I'm not
fun to say fee.
I'm not trying to be a snoot about it. I just wasn't sure if I wanted to say it the way that
it's like PHY shit, right? Troppy.
Oh right. Yeah.
That's why I named it Trent, dude. So I don't have to say it all the time.
Well, that's actually something that goes with the accents too, though. Like the American accent sort of does lend itself more to entropy.
Yeah, entropy.
It's like
entropy. Entropy.
I started playing a video game called The Entropy Center.
Different ways to say it.
That basically lets you rewind time. If you see something like broken and like, you know, decayed, you can rewind time to rebuild it. So you can like stand on the rubble and then rewind time, and it'll rebuild it so you can get up to like, it's a puzzle game, right? So you use entropy to get yourself back up to certain areas.
Oh, that's cool.
That's a fun game. What's it called? It's called The Entropy Center.
Oh, cool. Is that on Xbox, or you get to play it on Steam?
I think it might be on Xbox. It might even be on Game Pass.
We can look into that and try that out sometime for like a extra segment. Again, I was also thinking we could do some Dig Dug sometime too. That'd be pretty fun. Because I mean I have it on my Xbox. Maybe we have to, but I'm sure you can get that on Steam.
Multiplayer, is it?
No, but we could get it on Steam and like play. Like I was thinking we could like I don't know how we'd do it, but we could like do warm-ups or something with it, or maybe do a separate Dig Dug stream. But it'd be fun to like kind of start, you know how we start to set our stuff up? We could maybe have playing Dig Dug and goofing around with the setup as part of like either an earlier segment or, you know, like the pre-roll.
You'll do like the sorry, Renegade Bunny just mentioned something that I've heard done before. Is it the so he said sometimes to mess with Americans, Aussies will replicate a crappy version of their accent to screw with us. And I think I've heard that. It's like the high pitched version, the like exacerbated Crocodile Dundee kind of accent. I think I've had that I've heard that done before in YouTube videos.
People probably just do Aussie Man because like that's the guy that everybody like knows in like America and stuff. Like as far as a YouTuber, like his voice and cadence. Like you've seen his stuff, right, Viking? Like his react kind of videos or Destination Fucked. And have you seen any of that stuff? He comments over like YouTube videos but it's funny. And speaking of which, just a little shout out. Like if you go on right now, Traz, Traz is on Twitch right now, and you can. This is why I won't do an accent, because he is probably the one that I've listened to the most. And this guy, he is Traz, the Tasmanian fucking devil from Australia. He's speaking a mile a minute, and he's dropping a "see you next Tuesday" every second, and he's living his best life, and he's killer at games. But yeah, so that's the accent that I have to vibe, and it's like a lot of
Oh, I see.
yeah. It's just fast, and it's like it took me a long time. Like you got to like really learn his flows and rhythms, because he says shit and you miss it. But after a while, it's like you get in on the joke, and you can keep up with the flow of what he's spitting. So there you go. Maybe there's Australia's rapper right there. Traz from Australia, this spitting hot fire Aussie raps.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's not a lot of. Do you have any? I mean, just shout outs to Australian people. You know, we got a guy hanging with us today.
I don't have anyone that I can think of off the top of my head, other than like the big names, like the obvious names.
Yeah, that's it. No, that's it. So Renegade, no rappers. Aussie Man for YouTube and Traz for Twitch, man. That's all. And Crocodile Dundee for BoomerTube. Paul Hogan.
Oh, I was technically my favorite YouTuber for space engineers.
No, he's.
I think he's an Aussie. Yeah, Splitsy. He's one that I know very well.
Oh, they're actually. What about that? Kath and Kim. There's a show, a comedy show that I watch. I think they're from Australia. And they do that. And then there's Minty, that he does the movie, The 10 Things You Didn't Know. He's got the sound. What's that sound? Is that the pretentious one you're talking about? Or the it's like they put this sound on things, where it's like you'll know what I'm talking about. Vikings like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? But I don't know the words to say, but that's what I'm talking about. It's and I've heard people use it, and I've heard Minty's voice sound like that, and Kath and Kim have characters, these kind of pretentious older women in like the art scene or something, I think. Now that's getting really in the weeds. That's Viking getting really in the weeds.
We're so far in the weeds that we somehow ended up in Australia.
Yeah, you'll have to go back and watch it again. Now, I figured, you've been hanging for the podcast. We do a shout out to Australia, and
I just don't know anything about Australia, and I'm not gonna.
We're trying to give some Aussie representation, man.
I'm not gonna
pretend. I mean, I loved. Yeah, full disclosure, you guys probably think Crocodile. I mean, you're young. Like, who the fuck's Paul Hogan and Crocodile Dundee? Like, that's annoying. That's all Americans know me for. But that shit was awesome. When I was a kid, I saw Crocodile Dundee 2 in the theater, and I was like, man, Australia's dope.
Yeah. The most I ever hear about Australia is the animals that are deadly.
Oh, yeah, kangaroos, Kangaroo Jack.
Kangaroo is the first animal you thought of?
Yeah.
For a dangerous animal?
Yeah, well, they are. Renegade knows what I'm talking about, unless you fucking run right up and cold cock them. Did you guys ever see that video where the kangaroo has that guy's dog? He like grabs onto the dude's dog, and it's like this Australian guy, and he runs over and he just punches. I know I'm not saying animal violence is cool, but that thing had his brother, had his little dog, and he's like, all right, and he just gives him a jab, because those things will beat the shit out of you. And he stunned him, and he was like, all right, bro. he knew what he had to do. He's like, "Oh, I'm good. Here's your dog. Sorry." You know, he had to speak in its language.
Right.
Punch before punch, I guess. But man, and it was like a stun punch. It wasn't like he was like trying to be malicious and evil. He's just like, "Give me my fucking dog back." I'm there's controversial opinions about that video from 4 or 5 years ago. Who cares? Pandemic happened, and now here we are in the deep dive, digging deeper as Entropy goes on and on. I love Entropy. I acknowledge Entropy. Entropy. It brings balance to the earth. I have a garden dedicated to the decay and the growth.
Thank you for reminding me.
Yeah, I remember. I figured we could download some content and go do a little side quest for Australia.
When it comes to Entropy, and I want to start with, I want to like elaborate on the pronunciation thing. Like, I hate coming off as a snob. That is a symptom of ADHD to a degree. It's not about being right. It's about correctness. I'm sure you've had like experiences with that before.
I've never heard it explained like that.
Yeah,
I'm regurgitating information, and then people are like, "Say you're wrong. That's just the information. Leave me alone."
No, I'm not trying to make you look dumb. Like, no one's trying to make you look dumb. It's just like that's what I've learned that the word is supposed to be pronounced as. Like, what, Well,
yeah, I'm not saying that's right. I'm just saying that's it. Yeah,
that is the way that it is.
Yeah, and then just you get to a point in your life too where you have to represent a certain vibe and culture, and you do things a certain way, and you're fine with it. Remember that about these old folks. You see, it's just like, we're fine with it. We can deal with this bull. All right, so Entropy. You got some Entropy going on in the background. You've been watering that plant.
No.
All right.
No, I watered it a couple days ago, and it's coming back. But the older stalks on it that didn't get a lot of water are starting to die. So it's got a new couple stalks forming. So I have to cut it down again. My bamboo plant died. So like bamboo, I thought was like really difficult to kill, and I was like, well, I guess not, right?
Servos and Arvos. Servos. What's the spin on that?
Arvos. And
that's Scottish.
Afternoons are Arvo.
Because we're just boring Americans. Servos. It's like we break everything into go down to the service station, servos, and afternoons Arvos. That's what usually the American impersonation. People turn into robots, or they turn from down the south. I was getting a little southern, huh? You need to go down there. It's like a southern AI.
Listen here. You listen here now.
What?
Servos and Arvos. That is interesting.
Servos? Is that how you say it?
Servos.
Because we do a sound in Maine, so I don't normally do it too much.
They don't say the O's. That's service. It's service. Servos. Service. Interesting. Yeah, service station. Yeah.
Oh.
So there is.
You put a swing on it, like our regions have a similar kind of or swing.
There is a certain spin that we could put on Entropy. I want to get back and say.
Mainers would say Avos.
I'm curious how that makes you feel. That thing I said earlier about Entropy being where we can find the peace. There, like that could be the reason for everything. Like, I want to know more about how that makes you feel. What your opinion on extrapolating be.
What the biological truth of humanity is to become victim to entropy entropy to to grow into new life. Like in our death, we are reborn, and we're not necessarily the same person, but life and the current of energy persists because of good design and proper planning and contingency. Because the seed falls from a tree and the seed goes into the ground and grows another one. And if it didn't do that, if it was a one and done thing, then the world wouldn't keep growing and shifting. And none of this would be like this. And we wouldn't be here long enough. None of this would be this. So that's the cost of entropy. Yeah. You get new. And if you're someone who doesn't want change, then you probably think that might suck. But
oh damn. All right, so
it isn't good for creation to not have change. I can say.
Celsius.
Did you break?
Oh, the first second there, I thought I was gonna have to stop the podcast and shut my computer off.
Why?
Because my mouse keeps lagging, and that's where the biggest distraction's coming. You can probably notice I'm a little distracted. It's because my mouse keeps lagging, and I keep trying to like do stuff for the podcast, like change scenes and stuff. And
I'm distracted because we have 46 seconds left in the segment, and I feel like I got to put a quarter in to continue.
maybe the timer's a bad idea.
No, only when it gets down to the last minute, because that's how I wrap it up. You always like, oh, you came back around to it. It's like, oh fuck, I'm not gonna wrap this one up on a time.
So I'm at 37 Celsius, which should be all right, because it says if you exceed 80 Celsius, that's becomes a problem. I guess it's okay, but I don't know why my mouse is lagging here and there.
Yeah, it's
that's where I find
technology failed you, bud.
So if the gloom if anything can be found in the gloom that like beautiful, right? Then it probably is that it'll be a facilitator of entropy. It'll be something that helps bring balance to all matter. Like humans are corrupting things with the way that we create things, and the gloom is sort of the manifestation of all of that sort of negative energy that we're putting in to these things. And the gloom is basically saying, if you're going to keep doing this, then I'm going to have to create a failsafe to bring some more balance to this, because the humans definitely are not creating balance on their own.
No, we created the disruption, and now there's not many left in this event, and they have to deal with the aftermath, clean up the mess.
When you said that the phone used to be like trees and decayed dinosaurs and all the plastics, like the silicon from the earth and all this stuff, right? That we tore out of the earth.
Made stuff.
And essentially tortured.
And in time, what?
We essentially tortured the planet.
Yeah.
To get what we have now, and we've
carved into it.
Created the imbalance. Now we gotta deal with that and fix it.
Yeah, and figure out a way, if it can ever go back, which most things never can, and how do you live with things after they become what they are? How do we deal with things that are ever changing? It's beautiful, it's scary, but it's creative, and it brings a lot of joy and inspiration. And so you can't have one without the other. You can't have creation without the destruction.
The logo creation one is going to become a bonus segment, Renegade. We haven't done it yet. That the day that I was gonna do it, I ended up hitting a wall Like I was exhausted, and it actually turned out that I was a little ill. So later on in the week, I was still kind of shut down. I was like, I gotta go to work. I'm just gonna rest for the day. And then now the new Zelda game's out, so I'm gonna do that instead. I'm just kidding.
I guess that's what everybody does now.
Yeah.
That's what that Ian was talking about that stuff. Yep. Yeah, I haven't played the first one, but I am gonna watch the Mario movie today. Apparently.
Good, yeah. Breath of the Wild. You didn't play Breath of the Wild?
No, I haven't played a Zelda game since Ocarina of Time.
Well, you played one of the best ones then. Ocarina of Time is amazing. And then I would suggest
I played them in their heyday.
Yeah.
In their glory.
Although Twilight Princess sold more than Ocarina of Time.
Oh, really?
So you should try Twilight Princess too. That one's really good.
I think I have that. Like I think I bought the GameCube Wind Waker, and it came with both of those on a disc.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was like at a pawn shop too, and it was like not soon after it had come out, and it was only like $30, which those games never would drop at like a GameSpot or anything at the time. And I was like, "Fuck yeah, dude!"
You're getting into the breath of fresh air.
We're dug ourselves out. We've made it through the tunnels of entropy, and P with the breath of fresh air. So we're gonna have a little fun. What are we talking about today, buddy?
The breath of fresh air?
Yeah.
We're gonna stay on theme here.
Okay.
What we've got here is the idea that we exist in a very auspicious time. It's like the perfect time, right? We got water, we got trees, we got plants, we got a planet just the right distance. We got about 5 billion years of time before we have to worry about the sun, anything happening to the sun. Like the sun's gonna be fine for 5 billion years, and then we have to worry about getting off this planet for good. Like this planet will be gone for good. So like human beings evolved in this very specific time where, as bad as entropy can seem, and as bad as like the chaos in the universe, the darkness, the light, finding the light in the darkness, we actually exist in a very lucky time. Like we get to experience like the best moments of this planet. We're smack dab in like one of the best eras for the planet. Straight up opened your window and took a breath. Nice, Renegade. Yeah, I have the fresh air coming in my window over there too. And like that's like this is like kind of a sensitive subject too, because it's not necessarily a breath of fresh air, because we live in this perfect time period for us to be experiencing the universe, because we have a very stable home that we're making unstable. Like here we have this awesome thing and we're kind of ruining it, but then at the same time, like, wow, we get to experience all of this. We're at that time where we're witnessing Earth going into space. Like we're at that time where we get to see the beginnings of that, and then on top of it, we have the knowledge of our past to learn from, and then we have this planet that is just right for us. They call it the Goldilocks zone for a reason, because just right.
Yeah,
and we get to exist at this time.
I want to give you an example.
Well, I just want to add that there's going to be a time in the universe where the stars start to die out. It's trillions of years from now, but we could have been a race evolving around that time. Imagine living on a planet orbiting a brown dwarf star, and because it's been so long, you can't actually see stars in the night sky. Because of the expansion of the universe, they're too far away for you to even see them anymore. So your night sky would be literally dark.
No, they just fabricate it, make our own stars.
Well, in theory, they'd be a race that lived so long that they do have a fabricated world that they inhabit. But with that thought, I want you to go. I want you to go into what you were saying. I just wanted to finish up that idea that we're in a good. We're
I
in a
guess I
good.
was doing a pretty lady pose.
That was
Just saw myself. I don't know what that was.
Gorgeous.
Gorgeous.
Got your stuff, sir.
I just wanted to show you an example, especially because it's breath of fresh air and this is kind of fun. And you probably know this exists, but I got an app on my phone, and it's tripping me out to no end. It's called Skyview.
Yeah. Oh, I use that.
Dude, so here I am, a middle-aged man, growing up in the same region my whole life. Now, I can find a Big Dipper and Little Dipper like there's no tomorrow in a second. And yeah, but that was, the moon, oh, there's the moon, and that was fine enough because I just love looking up there. I love looking at the stars, and I didn't need to label them, and I saw those, and I would just look around. And nowadays you just see like wild satellites, and you're like, whoa, what is that? And shit you can't even figure out. And it's like unsettling. It's like, was that a drone? Was that a satellite? Why are there two together? And more is happening. It's nuts. And I always thought that was interesting. But somebody showed me this friggin' app. And it was in part the merging of video games and life for me.
Oh my God.
So here's the thing. This might blow your mind a little bit. I don't think I really want to play many more video games. I think I'm done. That's why I haven't played the Breath of the Wild or the one before or Mario Odyssey or anything. I gave up on games.
Oh,
it's gonna have to take a bond. It has to have a reason. It has to be a bonding experience. It has to be a really different experience. Like it has to be the next kind of progression in gaming. Like we always have that, and I might jump back in, might do some more stuff with VR, and I might do some stuff creatively with VR. I might make my own pixel game. Like I want to try to figure out how to get my end of it in it.
Oh, I see.
So
I
want to
create before you consume.
Yeah, I want to try to get like that's more exciting for me, and combining like everything that I've learned from gaming and keeping up with just like the certain ones. I think that's where I've been moving. And I don't know. It's like if you still play games, that's fine. I still play games, but I really don't get to do it as much.
With this most recent Tears of the Kingdom that just came out, this is the next level of games, though. I mean, it is like the next thing. When it comes to games, especially games that I would recommend to you, they're taking like the experiences that they tried to make, like the feelings that they wanted to make in the 80s with these arcade games. Like they were limited by the technology, and now we're finally getting like the true human experience in games that were originally intended back in the 80s when the games were first starting to be made. And there's a few game designers that are actually doing that, like with No Man's Sky, for instance. Like,
yeah.
You want to fly a spaceship and you want to go through space? Like Galaga and Defender. And all, like, you were limited by the technology. But now we can literally go from planet to planet and explore the universe in a game. And they actually wanted to make that game look as close to the album covers from the 60s, 70s, and 80s as they could, because that was also the inspiration for a lot of these games.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
the Art of Atari and stuff like that.
And they nailed it. And then with the Zelda games, right? Ever since It's Dangerous to Go Alone, Take This, and the Sword, right? The idea of the hero's journey. Every iteration of Zelda has been an expansion of that idea of the hero's journey, like save the princess, go like do the hard thing because the world needs you right now. and it's like the idea of being the hero, the swordsman, and that's what they call you in this newest one. Is like it's you, the swordsman, and they don't let you name your character anymore. Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, you don't name Link. You don't make it your own name anymore. Like they're actually telling their own version of the hero's story now. It's like this is almost my plea to you to like to try one of like I don't know if you have a Nintendo Switch.
I do. I have 2 of
You
them.
do. Like if you try
We never use them, dude.
like if you play Breath of the Wild, play it the way that they kind of intended, where it's a handheld game. Like take your Switch out of the dock and like take it around your house and play on the couch or play on a car trip, or play in a hotel, like
That's what they want out of this one?
that's what the Switch was invented for, was for you to be able to take it around. Play it like anywhere. And
Alright.
when you do that,
just-
you start to realize that you can sort of have that sort of escape anywhere. But that's sort of besides my point of this. It really does feel like the next level. Like I remember playing A Link to the Past on my Game Boy, and like I was just as engrossed in the story and invested in saving that goddamn princess again. Like even though it was on a handheld. And with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, they expanded that to an open world. You can explore at your leisure. You can go anywhere you want to go. And Ocarina of Time was the last game that had that feel. Like, Twilight Princess had an open world section, but it still felt limited. And then Wind Waker felt too open. It was all ocean. It was just all ocean. It was like,
I'm sorry. I said I played Ocarina of Time, or Ocarina. I played Wind Waker. I said I had the copy of Wind Waker earlier, and that game I really was almost. I didn't beat it, but I was into it. A lot of people didn't like it, but I thought the minimalism of the cell shading felt like the minimalism of the 80s, kind of like just like a blockier, simplified version. The color palette, I think that's still used today, like felt right throughout it. It felt like the cartoon version that I saw video games as when I was a kid. I didn't see them as real people. They were all drawn as like cartoons. They were more marketed towards kids. We didn't have, Duke Nukem,
yeah.
So you have Mario's and your Zeldas, so that it had that feel, but it was just the going around to islands and that cool vibe that would eventually be fully realized for me in Sea of Thieves, that I haven't played in a while, but it introduced a mechanic in a sailing back and forth kind of chill vibe. I was like, that's cool, and then it's like all of a sudden, oh, this could be multiplayer. Oh. But yeah, so Wind Waker, I thought about getting the HD remaster and actually giving that a go, but
that'd be good too. I mean, honestly, if you liked the style of Wind Waker and you're looking to get the remaster, I would suggest going straight to Breath of the Wild, because they brought back a little bit of that style, and like the characters and some of the enemies are kind of cel shaded.
Maybe that's what's wrong with me.
Yeah.
It's gloom. Maybe that's an inherent problem of why.
It's the gloom.
No, I'm realizing something. Gloom's accumulation. So, I feel. Yeah, I guess you don't beat every game and you move forward with the times and stuff. But don't you ever feel guilty, like you just half-assed, or you didn't beat this game and you really could have gave it its time? Like, but that being said, I don't know how many Zelda games I ever really beat. Like, they're fun to just kind of play and explore, but I feel like I haven't played I just said it earlier. I was like, I haven't played the new one. Oh, I haven't played the last one. Fuck, I'm still hanging there in Wind Waker. I was just saying, like, maybe I'll get Wind Waker, like some old man. Like, maybe I'll get back and listen to my records again and take up swing dancing.
Yeah.
What? I'll go back to maybe get that HD game from 1999 or where the came out. Was it 2001?
That's funny. I do sometimes want to pick up games that were like from 2010, right? And realize, oh, I never played that, and then now it's like $5 or something. I'm like, heck, okay, I'll go try that, and then I'll play it.
Doesn't that make sense?
But sometimes I'll be glad I waited. Like, there's a conservative mindset here too of like, sorry, more of a conservation mindset of
Conservative. I know it's a nasty word to some people,
not, well,
but conserving stuff,
yeah, but
conserving,
that's-
like we're talking about nature and
like-
materials, and save
there's
your money.
games- Yeah, there's games that when they came out were $60. Some of them are $70 now. And like I was so with some of these particular games, I was so glad that I waited like 10 years to try it. And I realized I don't
That's
like
what
this.
it was
I'm
worth,
really
right?
I'm really glad that I did not buy this at full price, because I'm only gonna play it for a couple hours, and then maybe it'll just hang out in my Steam library for the rest of my life.
Well, but you just brought up an interesting point. How time obscures things. Here's the breath of fresh air right here for you, for you folks. Times will change your interest in the trends of things too. So, like that Centipede in the background, it's like you don't play that all day. You can play Breath of the Wild all day, but unless you're like trying to get like a goal or a super high score, like unless you have something that it's connected to or streaming it, it just doesn't happen like that anymore. So when you're talking about like I'm glad I waited, time kind of fucked up that for the game though. If you had bought a game 20 years ago in its prime, would it have been awesome with the trends, or did you wait 20 years after the fact and it's so fucking boring?
That's a very good point, because what's happening with Tears of the Kingdom is one of the first games in a long time that I've bought at like near the launch of it. Right? And I'm finding that the TikToks I'm seeing about it are funnier. I feel like I'm more engaged with them. My friends who are talking about it, I'm more engaged in the conversation. I'm finding that there's something to this. There's a community aspect of like everyone's doing this right now, and I hate calling it a trend because it's more about the community. It's like we're as gamers, we're like, oh shit, this thing's happening.
Bro, do you know what it is,
One
right?
second. Oh, so if you guys would turn your attention to the cat cam.
Yeah, Inky. I didn't see on the cat cam. I could hear the screwing around with some paper or something. Some ruffling around. You guys can
see her in between the couch and my chair there.
What you got? Oh, a bag?
I made her a bed, but I wanted to make her a bed that was like natural. Like, hold on, let me move this way.
Nice direction there, Martin Scorsese. But ending.
Let's see, Inky, what are you doing? I made her a bed out of some paper, some leaves.
Dude, I feel like I'm doing a fucking barrel roll.
Where's
Flippy?
And a cardboard box.
Flippy. Oh, okay.
Right?
Cool.
I can also use this camera, I just realized as well. She's right there.
Oh, okay.
Her box. Whoops. Well, I just broke my camera. Hold on. There she is. Inky, give me
Camera
box.
1. Camera 2. Look, we're getting the whole tour. There's the living room. You can see the bedroom over there.
That's where the magic never happens. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Sure you are.
The magic only happens there when it's meaningful.
The magic happens. Oh, there's where I see arm.
An arm, you see a. So we got a little bit off on the game topic, but the way that sort of relates to what we're on about today is the.
No, we didn't get off. I was bringing it around, or the entropy of the structured natural world is what you're talking about.
So you mean
what this game? Gaming is creating a false reality that will be another reality to market in. It already is to selling things and to keeping people living there and buying stuff in the virtual world is also a profitable space. So they're going to incentivize keeping you there all the time. Like you said, it's handheld. bring it everywhere, bring it out, put it in the world. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Bring it
let
around town.
overtake. Let it overtake. And you know, when you're doing your farming simulator and your mowing simulator and all these like menial jobs, stuff like that.
Oh
I mean,
my
it's
God.
probably like people trying to get people like doing them in the real time. Like, here, we can do on the job training with a video game. You know, like get excited about pressure washing, which
No,
pressure
it's-
washing is a fucking awesome thing. It's fun, trust me.
Can I gotta say, so the simulator games, what those
Mhm.
do is they take out the worst parts of all those jobs.
Yeah, the fun.
And
they make it fun, right?
they leave in only the fun satisfying part, right? Because like what
Mhm.
happened was I was seeing Power Washer Simulator going around, and I was like, I'm not gonna buy that game. You kidding me? So I went to my girlfriend's house. She needed some power washing done. I'm like, done. I want that satisfaction. I've been hearing about this game. I'll go do some power washing. So my feet were soaked. I like my feet were like wrinkling inside of my shoes, and like the water's like everywhere.
Entropy came into play.
So here's-
Entropy came into play and decided I want to rot your stuff because it's the real world and water doesn't like shoe leather.
So here's like, it wasn't just the shoes. It was like a lot of different factors. Like it was a little
Yeah.
cold. It was like, wait a minute. So the reason this game is so fun because all you're doing is the fun part, the satisfaction of seeing the water wash away the grime. And I did get that doing the real thing. But it came with consequences and conditions that I also had to become okay with. That could also be
All right.
spun in a breath of fresh air kind of way, where you need to learn to enjoy the part of the thing that is fun without letting the hard parts get you down. That's life.
Accept the lesson. Like even in failure and the opposite of what you want, you
And the
are
difficulty.
gaining. You're gaining something that's beneficial. Yeah, entropy is wild, and you know, entropy. I was just gonna make a joke before it was all said and done. Just make sure you thoroughly convince me how much fun pressure washing is in the virtual world. What you've done for me as I pressure wash the Space Viking castle. You could be living in the real world still, CP, and actually getting your shoes wet. Pressure washing here in the virtual, in the meta, we're cool, dude. Back to my castle. What are they really training you for, Matt? What are they really training you for? Dun, 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 dun.
If we were to go buy all the games that I play, I've been thoroughly trained to fight off an alien invasion, or like explore an ancient alien ruin and discover new technology for humanity. I've been trained to fly
you could really-
spacecraft.
You could fly all those spacecrafts that NASA hotkey and shit, right?
Trenchfoot. Yeah, you don't want Trenchfoot, Renegade. That's exactly what I was talking about. I'm glad that when I was done,
Oh,
I
that's
took
Storm of
my
Iron.
shoes off.
Oh, I see what happens. Storm of Iron, welcome.
The colors.
It's the colors. Yeah, it did the same thing to me, and then I actually read it.
I even read it in an
Oh.
Australian accent in my head.
Oh. You have merged on Team Red.
Like Twitch even gives me all of these like fancy things, like Storm's subscribed with Prime, so he's got a different symbol. He's got the VIP symbol. So like I should be able to tell that it's someone different, but nope.
Yeah, I think. Do you look right into the middle of it like I do?
It becomes like a big blob of just letters, and I see
Like, I'll
the
start
color.
in
And I see the
trench.
color.
I'll start in trench. I'll see the red, and I'll be like, "Yeah, Trenchfoot." Because I do that with the colors all the time when they're the same. Two same in the chat.
Amoeba action.
It looks a little different though. It looks
Yeah.
like now I'm just tripping out. But yeah, welcome to this world of fools of pink champagne and swimming pools, and all you have to lose is your virginity. Thanks for joining us on Entropy Stream. We're all gonna die, but hey,
Entropy Stimulator.
we're still going. Humanity has benefited from the long game, and now we live in arcades and we fly in space. So
Ew.
thanks for joining us, and thanks for doing this, Mr. Viking.
It is slightly
I love-
darker. Right. We got about 6 minutes left. You're rushing out the door.
Oh, you're gonna keep it. You're gonna keep it right to
I'm
the
kidding.
minute here.
I'm just messing with you. We don't have to keep it right to the minute.
Oh no, I just we have a friend who just stopped over to visit with Abso, and
they're showing up right now.
Say hello. Yeah, well, they're just in the other living room, and I can hear them talking, and I know that I will probably get more and more distracted.
Okay.
Probably good for me to finalize my last thoughts and say thank you for everyone joining us, and I'd give you a full 5 minutes to give you. You could have had a 5-minute outro. I was giving you the floor, buddy.
We can still do the outro. We got this.
We'll give you the floor.
I'm
going to watch.
We'll do the outro. Look,
I'm going to watch Mario, the Mario movie.
Go do it up. It's a fun movie, and you're gonna be blown away by the references. You're gonna
I'll be able to talk about it. We could do.
We'll do We'll do a little bit of a movie chat next time. That sounds fun.
Or if you wanted to just do my reaction, over the weekend or week, like
as a bonus, we could do a bonus episode
because it's good or separate because we could do spoilers. Like a lot of people don't like to watch podcasts that interject stuff about movies, especially when they're like, oh, I just saw this movie, and then they're like, oh, spoilers alert, and then like the controller's over here because I'm watching it on the Xbox. I'm like, oh my, la 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 la. I don't.
Yeah.
I actually want to watch that goddamn show, and it's like I want to be kind of like, I want to see the movie as how it was intended. I don't want to read the reviews, reviews help too if I'm gonna go see it in the theater and spend money. That's why I use it. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? Anyway.
I do. This has been Rise in Mind.
This has been so that might be separate.
CP's going to hang out with a friend. So Storm, I don't know how much.
I already am. They're just like literally. Yeah. They're through the wall, and.
Well, now I feel like I'm keeping you here. I guess we'll just shut it off without. No.
No, and I forgot we started a little late because it's I was like, oh, it's almost 11:15. I forgot that
normally we try to stop at 11.
That's right. Oh. That's right. We're a little off, but we're hey, for our second Saturday, we slid in pretty fresh, coming in hot.
Storm of Iron, I don't know how much of this you witnessed, but so what we were talking about today was finding the light in the darkness. Finding the peace within the chaos, in that sort of whole concept of how there's good things within the bad, and without it, we wouldn't necessarily. Without that, we would not have a clock. Like we talked about, people who have a great life their entire life, and then one thing bad happens, and to the rest of the world, it's like that thing isn't that bad.
Yeah.
But to them, it's the worst thing that's ever happened to them. So I kind of am very thankful for a lot of the bad things that have happened to me because I can see the light in it. And this past week, to wrap this up, I've witnessed some like hardship when it comes to my job, my apartment, pretty much everything has sort of been turned upside down. And yet there's this like incredible calmness and peace I felt. Like yesterday it finally came to like a plateau. I was at work, I was doing my data entry, and I just took like a pause. Like a breeze was coming through the window, and I was like, everything's amazing. Like I'm well fed. I have a roof over my head. Difficult, there's times that are difficult, but I have everything that I need. Like I have this beautiful cat. Like I have friends that check in on me and like plan fun outings, and I get to do the conventions, and I took the time in my youth to learn to be an artist and do art, and like I can create something from nothing, and there's so much beauty in that, right? So for everything that's difficult, I have so many lessons that I went through to learn, and the biggest lesson of all was to not overreact to the bad things so that I can find the beauty.
Yeah,
I don't get lost in it.
Yeah, let it take you out of the now. Yeah, yeah.
So everyone, just try to remember to stay present, and thank you so much for hanging out with us and watching and listening. In whatever way you ingest this show that we're putting on, I appreciate you.
That's for you to decide.